Good morning. And today is going to be 9-8 of clubs. We are a 5 NL game. Folds around in the cutoff. We will open races at 2. I call. Both blinds fold. So what do we make of this bet? Usual raises are about 3. This could be a tournament player. And I think some tournaments tend to favor smaller sizing, so min raise in this spot, or maybe like 2.5x. I don't know, it's tough to say. We only have 11% on him. He's playing 27-18 right now, but it's not many hands. We do have some notes where he's called a 2-bet from the blinds with Jack 7s suited, called 3 bets out of position with 7s. Limp called a raise with 9-8 off. So this isn't necessarily a limp. I kind of put it together a range like this. I did make these 50% because I kind of assume these better hands are probably going to be raising more than just the min bet or the min raise. So that's what I'm going to go with. This is his range. This is his opening range. And then that gives me button versus cutoff, something like that. So we could see what we're looking at. This is a 3-better or call range. So we've got some pocket pairs, we've got some connectors, we've got mid cards. We can theoretically hit every board. We might not hit them hard, but we could theoretically hit a piece of every board with our range. So we see a flop of Jack 10. So I flop the open-ended straight flush draw. There is a pair of jacks on the board. This isn't a site with a bad beat jackpot, unfortunately, but it would have been great if we had, if we do hit bad beat, just so I could say I have a bad beat without ever winning any money. But in this case, villain bets half pot, and then I raise it here. So villain's going to be betting here. I probably think he's going to probably be betting most of the hands. I mean, this is both 2 jacks are on the board, so there's only 2 jacks remaining. It's going to be hard to hit a jack. You do have a 10. I think there's straights with Broadway, with all of his Broadway. I think we're looking at least middle pair plus. We'll give him the flush draw, open ender, gut shot. The overcards, I think, include all of the straights, so I don't think that's going to change anything. I guess the question becomes, what about these pocket pairs? I mean, maybe. His C-bet stat is 1 out of 1, 0 out of 1 when out of position. So this is the first time that he's betting out of position. I could see him betting these smaller pairs. Again, it's going to be a kind of a hard board to hit. Any of cards that are unpaired at this point are going to be difficult to call and then play post flop. So I guess I'll give him that. So I've got like 75% here that he would bet, and then I raised, and I think that's a reasonable raise. I think we're raising probably 3 of a kind here. Go for some value. I think we have flush draw or the straight draw too that we could raise. I think the benefit of the straight draw is if the flush gets there, we can fire, we can continue. I think we go with like pocket pair below the board that we could easily raise 2. I'm not sure if that's going to be all for value. This could be, just playing it strong. So you could see that like when we try to do value versus bluffs, we're getting a little unbalanced. This could be all bluffs. But, it's just like him. I don't expect him to connect a whole lot. We can have a plan going forward that like if a small card comes out and he checks, we could easily bet again. Or if a club or I could see a queen, a 7 could all be good cards. I'd say queen, 7, 9. See, I think the problem with the 9 is that king queen hits, and he could possibly have king queen. But I think a raise, maybe something like that. So we're raising actually quite frequently in this spot. I raised to 7, which is my guess is about half pot here. Yeah, it looks about half pot or so. and he calls. So out of all of these hands that he plays, will he fold any of them? And I guess if we added like ace high, no made hand, he's folding those. I think he would fold those. These, maybe not. I'm going to say he will fold those. So middle pair, I think a lot of players will continue to call with the middle pair, and then possibly fold if I bet again. So we'll go with those. All right, turns jack. Absolute horrid card now for me, because now basically the straights and the flushes are done. Even if I connect, I'm probably behind. So I'm going to have to be done with the hand. Villain checks. I think he's probably going to be checking to me with 100% of his range. At my range, I don't think full house I'm going to be betting here. I think quads we're betting though. I think full house we have some value because we do have a full house. I think on the river, if he bets, we're probably calling with like 8s, 7s, and 6s, maybe 5s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. We're probably just going to be folding. So I'm going to exclude the quads because I think we're going to be betting those. And then if we're going to be betting the quads, we probably need some like no made hand. So maybe the 8-7 like that could be a bluff. Let's get that. Yeah, maybe that could be a bluff. It's one combo. You've got one combo of quads, just something like that. I don't even know if we need a bluff though. So we're going like that. Because I do think quads. I think I would. I think I could continue betting, hoping that he has a pair that he's going to call twice. I checked king hearts, and now if he bets, I think I have to really evaluate what am I calling with. I mean, I have basically I'm going to be calling with the king. Do I call with 8s or 7s? Maybe. I think the king's likely to hit him. So if we just look at his range here, your top pair 26% of hands, so a quarter of his hands will have that king. Will he bet that? So I think we'll assume he'll bet quads. He'll bet those kings, the overpair, like the aces. So jacks full aces. I think he'll do jacks full kings. Maybe the queens. We'll say just 40% is what he's betting. And then the other ones, I think if I bet, he's probably calling the queen, the 10, probably that. I don't think. I think those are going to be the only cards that he would call. So I think no matter what, I think we were already done with the hand on the turn. So villain checks. And then it's on me, and this is just an easy checks. Even with a king, I think we can go for a little bit of value with a king, hoping that maybe he'll call with a queen or with a 10. I think that's where we're going, and we'd expect to split it quite a bit. But I think it in these games, maybe we need to start going for that slight value at that point instead of assuming, oh, we're going to be splitting, or if I bet we'll just be splitting most of the time. Go for that. Who cares? We're going to lose a little bit, just a little bit. If we are splitting, we're going to lose a little bit more to the rake. But those times when we don't split, when he does call with queens, when he does call with 10, with like a hand like ace 10, we're getting those extra bets, and that's what I think we need. So for us, I think we're just that king. We didn't have it. We checked. It only shows a7. So he actually takes the pot down with ace high. I don't mind that. Is it in there? Yeah, he has the ace high. Just kind of glad a spade didn't come. I mean, we would have needed a 7 or a queen of spades. That would have been just, I think we would have taken the stack at that point. But he had it. We just kind of gave up just because I kind of think he was going to connect. Maybe it was the river. We could have bet and gotten him to fold. Maybe that should have been our play, but I don't know. I don't know. So let's check GTO. All right, here is GTO. So, first off, I think I was a little surprised that he's betting 100% here. GTO suggests betting 100%. I guess I wasn't thinking. I'm not sure if I would be betting 100%, but I guess so. I guess we connect. We're going to be connecting with a lot of our hands. I guess when we work up, I guess our overpair plus or our middle pair hands, we're going to have a lot of hands that we're going to need to balance with. So that probably means we're going to have to be balancing with all of our like junk hands. So I thought that was kind of interesting when I first saw it. What do we do with us? GTO doesn't want us to be raising at all. And that's, I'm going to say, rather interesting. So I'm going to go back here real quick. We're going to take that. Let's look at our equity graphs. So I think that's it. So at this point, when we look at equity, he has just a massive equity edge on us, and actually equity and nut advantage here. So I think that kind of argues for increased sizing and c-betting more. So maybe because of this equity advantage, we're number one, that's why he's betting 100%. And then number two, that may be why we're not really raising it. So even with our flush draws and our straight draws, you can see with 9-8 of clubs, it's still arguing for a call. And I think possibly it was coming down to what we did with our raise. So I said we were going to raise 3 of a kind. We have our flush draw. It was just kind of hard to have any really good solid hands other than the jack. And because we don't really have any good solid value hands, and we can't raise with all of our flush draws and straight draws. So I kind of think that is probably why we're just calling. We don't have enough hands to balance. So, I mean, you've got the raise. Let's just see what happens if I raise and he calls and then the jack of diamonds comes out. At that point, I mean, we don't have any hands. So I should have just called. And then, so I'm calling here with basically everything. The weak pairs, we're starting to fold. We do have some ace highs, but those are really the clubs, the flush draws, and then we have some like spades backdoor flush draws. So let's get this in here. Let's do he bet 100%, and then we are continuing. We're not going to continue with all of these. I think it had, yeah, we're calling with 8s and 7s and 6s and 5s will set to 50%. There, we got those. Okay, we're calling with flush draw, open ender. Yep, and then we do have some gut shots. Queen 9. Queen 9's calling. Gut shot was king 9. Yeah, all of the king 9s are calling. but not all of the 8/7s. We already have 8/7 for the flush draw, and 53%. We've got a little too much. So I think here, this is where we'll say 50% for 8/7. And I think all of those, yeah, ace 2, ace 3, ace 6. Now we'll just do ace 6 and we'll leave it. There we go. Ace 6 at 50%, and then we'll take these out. Okay, so that's... So we're close. Okay, so we've got that. Let's get our jack of diamonds on here, and then let's look at our equity. So now our equity changes a little bit. Villain still has the nut advantage on us, but now we're about even on equity wise across the rest of his range. So we call there. That must be why he's betting. But he scaled it back. I mean, he's going to have to back off his c-betting percentage because he was c-betting 100%. So he scales it back. He bets. If he bets again, then we're calling our quads, our middle pair. So the 10. We're calling with the under pair. And looks like we have some other hands that we're calling with now. So 9/8 we call, Queen 9 we call. Ace 8 gets raised. Ace 8 of hearts as a bluff. Well, that's different. Okay. I see betting here. So he's sometimes checking his quad, sometimes checking his overpair. So he's really betting. Still, he's got some overcards that he's betting. Those are gut shots. He's betting most of his underpairs. No made hands. Hands that yeah, these are all bluffs to balance the quads and the overpairs and the middle pairs. So he just really does just have a stronger range at this point. And we're still calling with our 9/8 of clubs. I mean, we have an open-ended straight flush draw. But like the rest of our straights, we're not calling. Queen 9 of hearts we can use as a bluff. That's about it. Yeah, so I think I was kind of on the right track. If he bet, I don't think we can continue with the straight draw. We can continue somewhat with the heart draw or with the club draw because if an ace gets there, or if any of our king or a queen, that could improve us. But generally speaking, the weaker flush draws, I don't think we're going with them, and we're calling with some of these pocket pairs because we do have a flush. So this was a king of hearts, I believe. So that was interesting where we're at that point in the hand. Oops, hold on. Take that out. Yeah, that doesn't change based on our hand. He still has the equity edge. So king of hearts comes out. And still he has the edge. So I'm guessing he's going to probably be betting again. And GTO recommends betting here. And then for us, for calling, we're raising quads. We're raising with our king. But all of the weak pairs, we're calling. Straights we're calling, believe it or not. With a turn at least one into a bluff. But yeah, okay. So several things with GTO that we learned. Really looking at equity advantage. This guy has it based on his range, his pre-flop range, and my calling range. He definitely is justified in c-betting 100% and just continuing to fire. I don't blame him at all. Number two, based on that equity edge, we really shouldn't be raising. He's got nut advantage. He's got equity advantage almost across the entire range. So we're really just looking to call or fold. Call with our decent hands, fold with the rest. And then we see even on the turn, this we probably should be folding a lot more hands than what I think we would have been doing. Well, I'd take that back. I think I probably would have been folding those hands, but not once is GTO recommending that we raise in the situation. Now, if we change the hands, if we change his ranges, that could really change how we play it. If we give him a tighter range, maybe that changes how we play it. But right now with this range, it looks like we are not. We're in a bad spot. So that kind of begs the question: then should we even have called it pre-flop? And we're playing GTO ranges, GTO versus GTO. So I kind of think that, or at least that's what these ranges are based on. I'm gonna say, yeah, I think we should have still called it. The flop was rough. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, you could look again tomorrow for another.